Hello, class information 5000 Introduction to the Information Professions. Since we are covering organization of information in this week, I am sharing what I had my information organization class in this program. This lecture will be providing the very basic but fundamental the concept that you need to have before you actually do the like cataloging or classification or information organization. So hopefully this helps for you to understand how to approach organizing the information. Okay, and also this lecture also will be covering the metadata, the data of data. Okay, let's start. And since this is very long, I divide up two recordings, so you may just scan through the PDF file if you don't have time to listen. I hope this helps.
So representation. There are many types and levels of representation, right? There are representation of users' information need. We discussed what information needs, right? They can search or they can evaluate something, and then representations of information object that the from the object and the relationships among object. Okay, yeah, we'll discuss later. And also the representations manipulated by system, like it depends on which system that we use. It's different by each system, right? So its representations actually interact to connect the users to the information, right? So this is the model of information retrieval that we already discussed before. So there is information needed from one representation. We can say it's like a user's information need, and then there another side from information object there is representation B. So there is like the representations, match representations by the IR system, so which is a subset of representations, and it should be pertinent to be the information need. So it has been matched. That's retrieval works. Normally, we have representation from information object, like the title of the object and the creator subject, the date of creation and location. But you need to think about how users will use this information. Like, do they search, or do they want to evaluate or select? And do they want to obtain? There are many representations from current system. For example, like a description of book from catalog, or an object from museum, and a search result from web search engines. We need to clarify, do users understand these representations? And also, are some representations better than others? We are not talking about the interface design, but we are talking about the behind the interface. We are talking about the representations from the system for the object. Okay. Basically, the representation should answer two questions. One is the what's the item, right? For the representation from for the container. And what is the item about? As for the content, I mean the subject area, right? So for the container, it's more descriptive and try to distinguish from one object from another through the metadata. Uh, for the subject area, it should be adequate to represent that object content, so users can find the object based on search topic. We also need to ask how good is it, and also how will it be useful to the users. Again, the representations should be responsive to users. So you need to ask what the users want to do and how do our representations support their task. Our library catalog representations support four general use tasks, right? Find, identify, select, acquire, or obtain. Let's take a look more the generic status of about the representation. Information object is represented by the attributes relate to its creator, name, and content, right? Its producer, it's like a title, its subject or concept, right? So what to represent? Each entity level, it is the unit of representation that that information must be recorded. So it should be discrete work or text that's represented in a metadata record. So one entity is represented by one metadata record. There are some examples of entity level, like it could be whole book, or the conference proceedings with separated also the chapters, or journals with component parts such as articles, editorial, or web resources, website or web pages, or sound recording, complete CD, or the individual song. So in order to make a metadata record, you should choose first the entity level. Okay, so you need to think about what chunk of information are users interested in, and what attributes are available for that chunk, and is the chunk related to other chunks. So relationship, you need to think about the relationship too, right? So the entity level for library catalog usually is a whole book. So one catalog record for each book, right? And also for a journal article, that one single article can be one entry, one metadata for each article. So what's metadata? From the NISO, metadata is structured information, okay, that describes, explains, locates, or otherwise makes it easier to retrieve, use, or manage an information resource. Okay, so metadata is often called data about data or information about information. So it's easy to understand, right? But then in order to make a metadata, and also in order to make it available to users, we need to do many things. That's what we are doing in this course. So again, metadata is data about the entity. We just discussed about the entity, right? And it's a structured information. Okay, it's structured. It's not like here and there. It's just structure. It is structured information representing an information object. And metadata scheme consists of metadata elements. Library catalog metadata scheme contains metadata elements for title, author, subject, publisher, etc. Okay, so these are the elements for the metadata. So that metadata element represent an attribute of the object. Okay, so what's the purpose and functions? It's represent an entity. Okay, metadata purpose is represent an entity, and function. It's almost the same with bibliography, right? Discovering, finding, an entity exists, evaluating or selecting, locating, accessing. Others such as collection management, rating content, managing intellectual property right. So it can be applicable to many areas. Again, metadata is structured information. Okay, it's structured information is labeled or identified such that the meaning of values presented is clear. Okay, like unstructured information, like just document or text, it is no way to identify the information. Okay. Um, as you can see, the right side has a structured way of representation about the book, right? So imagine trying to find a book in a library without the help of a card catalog or computerized search interface. Can you do it? The information contained in such a system is essentially the metadata about the books that are housed at that library or at other libraries. So it provides you with important information to help you find a particular book and aids that you in making a decision as to whether that book might fit your need. This is another example of what's unstructured information to the structured information. So um, there are unstructured information above there, and if we put the author in the front of William Shakespeare, then it has structured way of representation of the name, author's name, and also $100 sign A Shakespeare, comma William. It has it's from the mark code that 100 is the primary author's name code, right? And there is another HTML. It's a markup language. It has the tag system has the structured way of the composition of the text. So each has the tag has the title or the description content and the keyword content. So these are the structured way of representation of the information. Okay, we will be discussing the mark the field and also the HTML and XML and when we do the encoding standard. Okay. Again, you need to practice about writing semantics for each field and the rules for each field that encompass all formats in the collection. Okay, again, you can do this exercise when you work on your information organization system project. This is the end of first recording of these particular lectures. Try to play the next one, which I put the second one. Okay.